Hey there, toy collector friends and fans of Space 1999 alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that's the time traveling toy collector, and today we are looking at the new Eagle from Anderson Entertainment. It is the Pallet Eagle, which is released just now, and it featured in the very first episode of Space 1999 Breakaway. And as always, the packaging is very, very nice for this. It's a very premium, high quality sort of packaging. You get the nice images on the side of alpha people and an eagle in the background. There's a nice picture over here of the product on the included launch pad / landing pad, and the same illustrations on the back, so we won't overly complicate things by going through that. I'm going to set this down here so that I can open it up. It's got a magnetic clamp. I have taken the liberty of cutting the tape so we can get into it. First thing you get is the certificate of authenticity. They've only made 2004 of them, so that's not bad. Jamie Anderson, son of Jerry Anderson, has signed it. And on the reverse side we get to see the range that's available. It's interesting, it says coming soon there in the bottom left, coming soon laboratory module. We already have that out, but the only one so far that's not been released is the winch module version, which to me looks like the most complex and most interesting of the lot. But today we have the pallet module, so I'm going to move that over here so it's hopefully safe and sound. I don't know how that gets in there when it's literally just being opened. I'll take a second just to pan upwards so you can have a look at the wonderful interior design of these boxes, because they really are great. I know people go, it's just a box, but actually sometimes really good packaging can make a world of difference. So there's the Eagle that we're going to see hopefully included to give a size comparison to how big it is next to a human being. Bit of background there, some specifications here of the actual ship itself in real terms, and we then move on to the packaging. Now the packaging historically on these has been really good, so we've got we've got a thin layer first to kick off with. Then we have, you can see that we've got the 4 canisters, so let's just get one of them out to start with, so we're not doing too much faffing about. But there we have one of the canisters. As you can see there, it says, let's see, it's upside down, so that's no good. So it actually says, I'll just see if I can zoom in a little bit more for you there. So danger, radiation hazard. You've got the radiation symbol there, and I think it repeats. Yep, so it repeats there. So we've got 4 of these, and they're very reminiscent of, although they used to clip in, if you had the dinky toy back in the 70s like I had, which contained this. And I think that also had a winch. I think it had that and like a little magnetic winch. You could winch them up and down. Somebody out there watching this will know the answer to that, so feel free to pop that in the comments. So I'm going to lift this out now. Or is it hidden under there? Oh, this is hidden under here, so I didn't even notice that. So we now get let me zoom out slightly, because now it's getting a bit intense. We actually get a foam cover for the Eagle, which is an interesting shape, but it's nicely included. And there is the Eagle tucked away inside there. So I'm now going to lift this out, and there we can see the modular format again. This time the Eagle has an open void, so there's not a huge amount to look at in terms of this one, but an open void where the canisters will sit and be transported. So I'm going to pop that over there. I'm assuming therefore that below this we will have, as usual, the base unit. Let me just stick my fingers in, that's easier. Right, so what I'm going to do now is pause for a second to clear the decks of the box, then we can have a proper look at the model with the canisters in it, and I'll come back to you in seconds once in real terms, but it gives you enough time to drop a little like for the video, and also, if you can, a subscription to the channel, because that really helps me selfishly get to my next subscriber milestone. So if you don't mind, there's no obligation, you don't have to watch all the videos, there's no cost implications for you. It just really, as I say, really helps boost the channel and get me to my next subscriber milestone. So if you could do that's great. If you can't, don't worry, don't go away, and I'll have it out on its display base before you can say dump the nuclear core. And here we have the Pallet Eagle all set to start transporting nuclear waste across Moonbase Alpha, out of the box and all shown up on its display base. Now, there's nothing magnetic to hold these canisters in. I was a little bit hoping there would be something, but there isn't, unfortunately. So they are literally sitting freely. I'm just going to sort of rotate this around for you at the moment so you can get as good a look as you can without my clumpy fingers all over it. I have just sort of dispersed them. You get 4 canisters, and I'm just going to sort of rotate it so you can get a look from all the various angles as it's flat, as we look down upon it there with the display base. This is a display base landing pad that comes within the set. I must admit, there was an awful lot of foam. This one felt like it had more foam than I've ever seen before. But it really works. It keeps it nice and secure. And again, I think, and I know that there are those who will comment on the fact that aspects of paintwork around the lid of the cockpit, sort of where you've got the cockpit windows, it's not accurately painted. There's a thin, there should be a white outline. I think the counter is, well, I think that's supposed to be the white outline that we can see there. But I take the point. And they are a premium price. I know when these were first released through Eagle Moss, they were sort of retailing around the £50 mark before Eagle Moss went into administration and disappeared. And now that Anderson Entertainment has picked them up, they are retailing for significantly more. And I think the actual retail price, if you don't get it on pre-order, was something in the region of 100. I think it's 120 or something like that, which is expensive. Now, if you get the pre-order, you can do it for less than £100, but only just. And there is an argument to be had. Well, if I'm paying that kind of money, I expect the highest quality of paint, deco, etc. that is going to be available. And I totally hear that, and I totally understand it, you know. And I'm not going to be someone who sits here and says, "Well, actually, no." The scale it's not huge, but it's also not tiny, so it does allow itself to be adequately painted. So I'm going to pick this up and pray that those canisters don't fall out, because I'm very mindful that they could. But they are, I mean, if you've seen the other Eagles that I've looked at, then the modular base of it, although I do think I'm getting a sense that some of that paintwork is a bit different. Some of the tamper graphics on there there's just something slightly different about it, and I'm not too sure what, or if I'm imagining it. But again, a lot of where there is the surface detailing, I think it's really good. It's certainly good enough for my display. There's the middle section there, so you can see that that's the pallet. Be careful how I lift it up, because I don't want them to fall out. There is a slight lip that holds them in place, but not much of one. So you can see there again just about the thrust. I'll take them off to turn it upside down, but you can see the thrusters there and the separate, there they go, just blown up the moon, and the sort of landing pads there for the pallet itself. And then we can just sort of take a perusal along the structure. So you can see where there are some coloured segments there on the main modular frame. I'll just rotate it around so you can see both sides. Again, it's not the weightiest of craft. That's not helped by the fact that it no longer has a middle section. I think let's try and make sure that looks like it's something dusty on there. But again, I think the sort of the landing gear segments are really, really well done. I always like those. The actual landing pads themselves, they always remind me very much of the spring-loaded version that we had. There, of course, are no spring-loaded elements here at all, and you can't release the middle pod section. Anyone who collected the Dinky toys knows that there was a little button here that would release the pod, but that's not the case. So here we have, you can see the dark interior of the thrusters there, the pipe work. Again, I think it's really nicely done, and I do know that there will be those who say, yes, okay, maybe it is really nicely done, but at the end of the day, nicely done is one thing, screen accurate is something else. And I do hear what you're saying, as I say, especially for the money, but for what I think, for what I'm seeing here for my collection, and I can only speak to my collection, I'm quite happy with this. I do think the price is a bit steep for what you're getting. It would be nice if there was some additional features built in. There you go, you can see the entire underside of it now. And again, we do have that surface detailing there that does make it sort of come to life a bit in my hands. But I really like those landing pads there with the treads on them. Again, it would, even if it was just something spring loaded in these legs, for the money we're paying, it would be nice. But that said, you know, we know what we're getting into, and for those people who don't know what they're getting into, there's people like me who will show you and will pay for it, and then you can make that decision yourself as to whether or not this is something that you want to pick up and include in your own collection. And don't get me wrong, they're quite lightweight, which means probably somewhere along the line they're quite fragile. So you don't really want to be seeing these. Have I lost a nuclear canister? That's not good look, is it? Oh, there we go. This nuclear canister is determined to just blow the moon out of orbit. So I can leave that one there to be put on the ship later. But I think it's a really, really nice look. I think it's a really, really nice ship, but it won't be for everybody. It, of course, is a considered purchase, as with anything, pretty much these days. But coming in at around somewhere between 100 and 120 pounds, depending when you buy it, I think it is a considered purchase. I'm glad I've purchased it. I really like it. I like the aesthetic of it. I am aware it's not 100% screen accurate, and that will, for a lot of people, be disappointing. But then in the current climate, with the cost of materials, the cost of labour, the cost of painting, etc., I do wonder how much it would actually have to cost for that level of screen accuracy in this scale. And of course, there is a limited number, so there's no economy of scale to what they could invest in it if they are only making around 2,000 units worldwide, because that's not many. And much like other ships that we've looked at on this channel, there is a degree of fragility, and where you get a degree of fragility, you also get, as we're all too familiar, a degree of breakability. And once it's broken, that's one less ship out in the world, out in the wild. And that, of course, for those for whom this matters, can push up the value of these individual ships, because there are less of them out there. Now, that isn't something that particularly matters to me. I'm not looking to purchase these with a view to selling them off. They're not my pension, as far as I'm concerned. But I just really do like them, and they do take me back to my childhood, both in terms of the dinky toys that I used to have, and of course enjoying the series that was very short-lived at the 2 seasons that we got. But I do really like it. Do I wish there were a couple of additional features to it? I'd be lying if I said no, but I can understand why they're not there. But in particular, I would have liked very much to see something that could hold these onto there, whether it was a clip or just something simply magnetic. We've got a magnetic clip on the box, for goodness sake. The box is held closed with a magnetic clip. So engineering something like that into these could have been done, probably at not too much of an impact on the budget. I don't know that for a fact, but I would imagine. And failing that, maybe just some spring-loaded landing gear or just with an element of bounce would have made a bit of a difference, is my gut feeling. But this is me just seeing it for the first time out of the box. Again, don't get me wrong with what I'm saying. I'm being what possibly feels a bit hypercritical, because I want you to know that this is how it is. What you see is what you get, and I'm not playing down any other features. It is literally a display model, to the point where you almost wonder whether they'd be better off having molded the canisters into the pod itself, because again, and I'm not trying to be he says I'm not trying to be cynical here, but those canisters are the sort of things that will go missing very, very quickly, and if not very, very quickly, then very, very easily if you're moving house, or you're doing this or you're doing that, or you've got some children who see it and want to play with it, or you've got a pet that gets a bit peckish and it's within reach. I mean, there's any number of scenarios where one or more of these could go missing, and of course, as soon as you don't have all four, it's no longer the product has sold. So it then again, the remaining ships increase a tad in potential value, if that is something that you think about. I know I'm making it sound a little bit like that's what I'm thinking about. Please rest assured it isn't, but it is a factor, and it is something that I'm, from my point of view, saying to you. So be really mindful that they're easy to lose and that it is easy to break. I would say this isn't something that would survive you dropping it. It isn't a robust die-cast dinky toy, for example. However, I do think it looks good. I do like it. It will do really well in my collection, and I'm glad I've got it. But I appreciate it is a personal choice, and a considered personal choice at that. I just hope that you watching this has helped you make a decision whether this is something you do want on your collection, on your Starship shelf, or not. Either way, hopefully I've provided a bit of a service for you, or maybe you just like looking at them and going, oh, that's really nice. I probably never would buy it, but it's nice to see it and see what they've done with it, and that's of course perfect as well. Anyway, thanks for spending the last 15 or so minutes with me. I've been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You've been a lovely, lovely audience. This has been the Eagle pallet transporter, complete with 4 nuclear waste canisters from Space 1999, from Anderson Entertainment, complete with its landing pad. I very much look forward to seeing you in a future video, or indeed a past video. Do have a little look around, and if you could like the video, that's great, and if you could drop a free subscription to help me get to my next milestone, also great. But if not, don't worry, I'm just glad you were here, and it just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care, bye bye for now.